In this video, I'm going to talk about setting up a website project. It's best to get started with your file organization on your computer. So I'm going to start by making a new folder and naming it appropriately. So this folder is going to hold all the files related to your project. So that includes the actual website folder, as well as things like your sitemap, wireframes, and style guide. So I'm going to make folders for those. So I'll make one called site folder or root folder, whatever term you want to use. This is actually going to hold my website itself. And then I'll make another one. I usually call this one working files, but this is going to have everything else. So if it's a file that's not going to be displayed on the website, it needs to go here. I don't want to mix them up. So inside of working files, you'll have things like style guide, wireframes, sitemap, whatever you're assigned to do. In my site folder, where I'll have the files that will be on my actual hosting site, I'm going to go ahead and make an images folder right off so that I'm organizing my images, which have been properly processed in Photoshop already, and keeping them in one set place for my site. So for this project, we're doing a site with Bootstrap, and Dreamweaver is going to create our CSS and JavaScript and later our templates folder without us having to do that ourselves. So now that I've got these folders set up, I'm going to go into Dreamweaver, and I'm going to start from the Site menu and say New Site. You can also use Manage Sites, or this menu over here also has Manage Sites. Any three of these things will work. So the site name is just a label for you, so it doesn't have to be web safe. So I'll just say, I know Web Design 2 Project, or whatever this site is. I'll click the folder, and this needs to go to my site folder or my root folder, the one that has my web files in it. So not the overall folder, but the one just with your website in it. So right now it just has an images folder. So next I'll go into my servers and click the plus sign. And here's where you put your hosting information in. So yours is probably going to be different than mine. And I'm not even sure if I remember mine. So if you get this, this usually means that your password is wrong. Sometimes they sort of guide you through making FTP specific username and password. So there I had a typo in my username. Now I'm connected. If you can't remember what this is, go to the provider of your web hosting, log into your account, and you may need to reset your password. Once you're in, there should be some FTP area that tells you if you have FTP access or if you set up a separate account to handle your FTP. So FTP again means File Transfer Protocol, and it's how we send files from our computer to web hosting. So make sure that this gets working. If you're just uploading for files to display right on your website, you shouldn't have to fill in a root directory. If you have problems, it may be, depending on your host, it might be public_HTML and then a slash. If you look at your file manager when you log into your account online, you should be able to find this out. And then for your web URL, you can delete FTP and dot. And I know that mine doesn't use public HTML, so I'll take that off. So this is going to vary person to person, but these default settings should work. All right, so I know that this works. I'll test that again. Great. Save. And then we can save that site, and Dreamweaver will fill out our files panel with it. So there's my images folder, ready for my images. So I'm going to go ahead and do File New, and I'm going to create a new HTML document with Bootstrap. This is a new site and we haven't made an HTML file yet. So I'm going to say Create New, and I'm going to make sure that this Include a Pre-Built Layout box is unchecked. I don't want that. So I'll click Create, and then the first thing I want to do is do a File, Save As. And I'm going to start building out my home page. So as a home page, this has to be called index.html in order to be automatically seen by web browsers as a home page. The other thing that we need to do, because this is a full site, is have an external CSS sheet. So the problem with having several pages and only doing CSS in the head is that if you decide you want to change, for example, how your p tag looks or how your buttons look, you have to do it on every single HTML page. That's bad news. So let's do File New again, except this time click CSS. And again, immediately do File, Save As. And we usually call this something like main or master or something like that. And I'm going to save it inside my CSS folder alongside the Bootstrap file. So in order for this to work, I've got to have it connected. So Dreamweaver already automatically links the Bootstrap file when we create files that way. So I'm just going to copy this link and poach it. I'll go down to the next line, paste it, and then I'm going to highlight Bootstrap 441, and I'm going to change that to the name of my CSS document. So because they're in the same folder, it's giving me this hint, and that kind of confirms that it's there. So I can click that, and then I'm good to go. So confirm that your CSS and JavaScript links look like this. If they start with file : it's looking for an absolute location on your hard drive, and that's bad news. You want it to be relative to your site. So in another video, I'll tell you about templates. So that's going to create another folder, as that's a Dreamweaver process, and it will create it for us. But for now, this is how to get your website files set up and linked properly to start coding your website.